Hello, everyone. Today, out of nowhere, I just want to talk about ChatGPT and its impact on higher education, especially impact on assessment, because it's a huge topic. People are talking about it, and some people are so scared. They said it's the end of our jobs or it's end of assessment, etc. But I just want to share a couple of points. So basically, my ideas based on my observations and experience, because I do some research on AI, and I do some research on assessments and also education, higher the assessment in higher education. So I thought that maybe I can share a couple of ideas about this, right? But before going into that part, I just want to show you a couple of examples how ChatGPT works. I'm not going to explain how it works in general because it's another topic. There are tons of videos on about there on internet. So that's why if you are interested, please go ahead and take a look at it. But what is impressive about ChatGPT is it has a pre-trained algorithm. It means it already has access like billions of observations, different like a huge data set, and then trained based on this data set. That's why it can write you some codes. It can write you some papers, but in its simplest form, it's basically a chatbot, right? So highly intelligent chatbot. But let's see how it works when it comes to assessment, because in academia, in higher education, we ask students to write some essay, right? So how good ChatGPT is on writing an essay for master's level module course, or how ChatGPT is doing when it comes to answering a multiple choice question. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and show you a couple of examples. Then also in the end, I will briefly share my opinion about this. Right. So should we really scared of it, or what can we do about it? Right. So just a couple of takeaway points. So let's start by looking at a couple of examples. Okay, so this is one of the old coursework that I use for my marketing communication module. So I simply copy paste everything on that module and then ask GPT to write me an essay. Okay, so what it's doing is actually really impressive. It start writing immediately. It chooses a brand from the top 100 brands and then writing a marketing communication plan for that brand, right? So it chose Amazon as the organization and start writing about it, right? So doing the analysis and then generating campaign ideas and everything. That's pretty impressive, right? So that's amazing, because normally we ask students to do this in 1 month or something, almost like in a few weeks. Yeah, but what we expect students to do the research and then read the articles, read the content we shared, or study the content we shared in the module, and then incorporate those knowledge into their ideas. So that's the part that ChatGPT is lacking, right? So as you can see, there is no in-text citations, no theories, nothing at the first attempt. So that's the part I generally tell people. If students want to use ChatGPT properly, they need to know how it works as well. So they need to ask them to do something, and it is still good because they are getting some practical skills, right? So that is also a good thing about ChatGPT, I think, because ChatGPT is clever in a way that it follows your conversation, right? So you can ask something based on your previous conversation. For example, I asked ChatGPT, can you provide references for the paper you wrote? Okay, so let's ask ChatGPT to provide some references for this paper. But then when it comes to that, let's see what it says. So when I asked, can you provide references for the paper you wrote, ChatGPT just apologizes and said that no, I cannot do it. And I asked him, like, can you provide some in-text citation for the paper at least? And then it lacks in that part as well. So sometimes it gives you some ideas actually, but it is really hard to incorporate the knowledge that you learned in the module, because you can ask some straight facts and then it gives you the answer. But when it comes to incorporating the theories, framework you learned in the module, it is actually lacking. It's not doing a great job. But overall, I think this is just the base for a good coursework. But students, if they would like to get good points or getting a distinction mark or merit mark for their coursework, so they need to do more. So they can still use ChatGPT as a decision support system or like an assistant, give some ideas, who can give you them some ideas, or check their work, etc. But it is not like, one-stop shop. They can ask everything to ChatGPT and they will do about it. They will get good marks for their coursework. So it is not the case here. So we don't need to be afraid. But when it comes to multiple choice quizzes, so it is getting a little bit strange, weirder, because no matter what question you ask to ChatGPT, it gives you a straight answer, right? So again, one of my multiple choice quiz here. So when I ask if I copy paste a single answer type question, so that's critical. So if students just copy paste this question and then ChatGPT will give the answer, okay? So immediately, and also provide the explanation, which is scary, right? So concerning, because if students start copy pasting all the multiple choice questions, especially in the online programs, so it becomes a huge problem. So what can you do? So one simple thing is use a proctoring tool, because there are so many proctoring tools out there. Basically, when they start the test, everything froze. They only look at the screen and they cannot copy paste anything from the screen, right? So this is the ultimate solution. But if you don't have access to that type of proctoring tools, because sometimes it takes time for students to get to do the procurement and then integration, everything, then another solution would be using some visuals in the questions, pictures, figures, etc. Because currently ChatGPT is not capable of doing the image analysis and then answering something based on this. So you cannot actually they cannot copy paste it. Even if they try to copy paste this to ChatGPT, it's not going to work, right? So when I do this, so the picture is not available and ChatGPT fails to answer this. Another thing, of course, this is something that I'm doing research currently with my colleagues, providing multiple answer and negative marking options, like the case in this question. So there are more than one answer, and when you ask ChatGPT to answer this question, it doesn't give you the correct answer, right? So it's still provided, because it is not evaluating the question by the context itself. It again uses factual information and trying to do the analysis, and it gives some wrong answers as correct answers too. So there are a couple of solutions currently that we can use. Like I said, they're using images, figures, or using like multiple answer type of questions and the negative marking, because ChatGPT is currently not capable of doing it. And I saw so many people are asking some algebra question, mathematical question. It's not doing well in that aspect too, okay? So this is just a simple demonstration of how ChatGPT works. But when it comes to general ideas, I think for the coursework and essay type question, there is a huge topic in academia. We call it authentic assessment. So authentic assessment is, I think, will increase its importance, right? So because there are two options in front of us. One is going back to in-class assessment, the old way, boring. Students get anxious. They're getting highly stressed, which is not ideal, right? So, but it is again an ultimate solution. You can go back to in-class. So the exams, open book exams, but no screen, no internet. So that's an ultimate solution for ChatGPT or other AI tools. Another way is authentic assessment. Instead of asking students to write an essay about a general topic, why don't we ask them to come up with, I don't know, a podcast, a real life sales pitch presentation, or idea generation, or creative pitch for agency, etc. So that type of authentic assessment or group work that they can come together and share ideas, think about this, reflect on their learning, I think that will be, the way that we need to go to, right? So that should be the right road to take. And of course, apart from that, if you lack ideas, so you can ask ChatGPT about authentic assessment. It will give you some the ideas, right? So that's how you can use it as well, right? So, and that's what I'm also telling people. We shouldn't be afraid of it. We need to know. We need to learn how we can use it for our job, and then tell students about this as well. Because when they graduate, when they start working in industry, those tools will be their best friends, right? So because they don't have enough time, they have a lot of tasks to do, so they need to find some shortcuts, and we need to also tell them how to use the shortcuts. So I am developing a module on AI and other automation tools in marketing, because there are so many, right? So there are already AI tools writing copywriting material for for branch, right? So come up with creative ideas, or there are a lot of automation tools that give you some campaign ideas, or again like doing like automation for onboarding process. So this is life. This is their life, right? So we need to teach them about those tools instead of getting scared or telling them not to use it, right? So then banning everything. So this is my idea. This is not the end of the world. This is part of our life. And as academics, we need to know how to use those in our own practices. Okay, but of course, I would like to hear your opinion too. So I hope you enjoy this content, and yeah, let me know what you think. Bye.